That is good tasting coffee right there. Taste Invader. Thank you again, Andy. My supply has still not run out, but I can tell you right now I'll order another bag there when it comes up. Anyway, good to see you, Island Riders. Happy Friday. It's right, it is Friday. It is the last Friday of the month, which means it's channel update time. And for those of you who are new here and don't know what we do, the end of the month, every last Friday of the month, we do a channel update. And that just gives me a chance to connect with you guys on the same timeline. You'll notice a lot of the videos that are coming out on Mondays are videos from the summer. And the reason I do that is so that we have adventures to last us all through the winter. So I film quite a ways in advance. So for example, I'm filmed up for new videos on Mondays all the way up until like the 1st of May, at which point we'll transition to season 3. But that's a ways away. What we do in the wintertime is we do winter bonus videos. Yeah, so kind of like today. And they're a little bit, relaxed. They're a bit chill. There's no real set production schedule, but every once in a while I'll throw up a bonus video on a Friday. And it's stuff like, in the garage here, because let's be honest, I'm in my off season, and the winter is here. The snow has begun to fly out on Prince Edward Island, but that's also really cool. So I spend the winter tinkering around in the garage, and you can see I'm already kind of testing some new stuff that I got going on. I want to do some electrical work on the bike, and I want to bring you along for that. So that'll be a video. I got some other mod upgrades and stuff that we'll do. Plus we'll do some other cool stuff. Being winter on Prince Edward Island doesn't mean we're all hunkered inside all the time. So there's still adventures out there in the snow to have. So we'll take a look at some of that cool stuff. But before we do all that, I still have some work to do to the KLR before I put it down to rest. I've got to get it ready for the winter. So I figured this was a good opportunity. Since we're all kind of thinking about that right now, what do you do to your bike to get it ready for winter? What do you do to winterize the bike? So let's go over some of my tips. There's some of the things that I do. And after that, we'll pick it up and we'll go over a little bit about what's coming up on the channel. We'll go a little bit over what I've been filming recently and what you guys can expect for the new videos that drop every Monday. Anyway, let's get out the KLR. Let's take a look at Silver Fox and get them ready for the winter. How's that? Get the coffee with us too here. Don't forget that. All right, so let's have a look at the old KLR here. Yeah, so to get the bike ready for winter, what I like to do is and I know people aren't big on this, but I clean the bike real good. I know a lot of people are saying, hey, I never clean my bike. It always just gets dirty, so why bother cleaning it? Well, the reason why I do it, and I do a real detailed clean. So I've got most of it on this side done, but I got to do the other side. So that basically just involves me, just sitting here with some music on and some coffee. And I just kind of clean up the bike a little bit. So I go over it real good, like, think military cleaning a rifle type of good. And that's kind of where this is inspired from. So I'm getting in there with the nooks and crannies with some spray 9. And, eventually what I'll do is I'll go up to the brake assembly here too. And I'll tear down the front and the rear brakes and I'll go over them with some brake clean and stuff like that. And then I'll go over all of the plastics and the paneling and I'll pull that stuff off actually. And I'll even clean there. So that's number 1. Detail clean the bike. Number 2, I'm moving around a lot. What's on my list here? I do my inspection, the bi-weekly inspection. So the bi-weekly inspection is going to be looking over the controls. It's going to be looking at the wear of the sprockets. It's going to be looking at, the PSI of the tires. It's going to be looking at the wear of the tires. Actually, talking about tire wear, again, looking at the bikes, the Shinkos are doing really, really good. I think I've got, what do I got here? I put them on at like 15,000 kilometers. We're at like almost 2,200. And they're looking pretty decent. Like, check that out. That's pretty wild, eh? Not to get on the whole overloaded tire topic of motorcycles, but I think I am going to go for some TKC 80s next time comes. I just want to see what everybody's talking about, with a knobby tire as opposed to like this paddly, profile that I've been working with. After I do my inspection, the next thing that I want to do is all my lubricating maintenance. So that includes doing an oil change, get that out of the way. I'll take the air filter actually out, clean it, put a new air filter in that's got a little bit of oil on it, of course, as per air filter cleaning protocol. And then after that, I do my control cable lubrication. So I'll get up here and I'll take the clutch and the throttle cables out. Well, I won't take them out, but I'll just detach them. And then I'll put some cable lube in there and I'll get those all going good. And if you're wondering how that's done, I got a video on that actually that you can check out. And then after that, I take some dry silicone spray and I just like blast the engine casing and like all these metal parts. So like the frame here and like this part here and then the swing arm, the kickstand even, believe it or not. Give it a taste. And don't do the brakes though. Don't put any kind of oily lubricant stuff on the brakes. That's bad news. Don't do that. But all of the lubricating stuff now is really to give it, you know, some protection over the winter, especially if you're storing your bike outside. Not everybody has a garage or a storage locker or even a small baby barn or a shed to store their bike in. So if you're storing it outside, you're gonna want to have that stuff because over time, you know, there's going to be moisture, there's going to be ingress, especially while things sit. So you want to have that protection. So make sure you do that. So the next thing on the old list to do is to get the fuel system going good. That means we want to go to the carburetor and we want to drain the float bowl. And usually what I do with the bike is I fill it up with Supreme. I like using Supreme fuel in the bike in general. I know there's people that are just like, I just use regular. And that's fine. But regular fuel nowadays has a lot of ethanol content in it. And it does coagulate a little bit if left for a long time, settling. And the place where fuel settles the most in the fuel system is the carburetor's float bowl, so the part in the bottom. Let me show you rather than just try to draw it with my hands in the air somehow. Let me show you how it works. All right, so there's the carburetor there, and basically the float bowl is this little bottom section here. So what happens is fuel will just sit into that area and it'll just chill there all winter long, but you can drain it out. So to drain the thing out, the first thing you want to do is you want to come over back to the front and obviously turn your fuel off. Mine's already off because I just leave it off. And then what you're going to do is you're going to put a little piece of silicone tubing under that little nipple right there. Just take a little piece of silicone tubing like this and run it underneath the exhaust and then just kind of drive it up in there. And then just grab a piece of old garbage Tupperware or something like that. And you can just put it down here to collect the fuel, because as soon as you turn the little valve that controls that little nipple, then it's going to come right out. So next, once you get the little piece of silicone tubing up in there, you'll want to use a 3mm hex, and you're going to put it into this little hex screw right here, because this is like the valve, the drain valve for it. Just get it in there, nice and snug, and then you turn it, lefty-loosey to get it to drain out. So we'll just crack it open here now. Just like that. And you back it off and you'll start to see the fuel flow out. So once that is pretty much, dripping out at the bottom of the line, just put your, guy back in there. And if you're wondering what the torque rating is for this, it's 2 fingers tight, like that, nothing more. Don't tighten that down really hard because you don't want to strip that for sure, 100%. Too easy, right? Easy little bit of maintenance anybody can do, really. So the next thing that you want to do, let me scoot down a bit maybe. There we go. Once you have your fuel system all taken, drained out like that, is you want to pull the battery out and get it on a battery tender. Now I'm not going to do mine right now because I still want my battery in there. I've got some other stuff I want to do to the bike that includes the electrical system, so I want to keep that. But a battery tender, you can get a whole bunch of different options. I'd recommend getting a smart battery tender. I'm basically still using this old Motor Master guy from Canadian Tire. It does the job. There's nothing wrong with this, but you pull the battery out, you take this side fairing off, you take this seat off, and then you just disconnect it, and then put the clamps on them. Plug in your battery tender, and then away it goes. You just keep an eye on it, and I do the same thing for my lawnmower every winter as well. So that takes care of the battery. Next thing that you want to do, and this is a really big one for people who store their bike outside of like a garage or in a shed, or even out underneath like a tarp, or just under a shelter outside. Number one, you're going to want to cover the bike, primarily because you don't want people seeing it. If it's way out in the open and it's outside, if someone sees a bike, they're going to start thinking about stealing a bike. So cover that bike up. Maybe you can get a lot of tarps and covers that actually have a little thing down at the bottom here that lets you put a lock through. You can do that. Also, get the bike up off the ground. Even me, like I've got it up on the jack here right now, I'm gonna get these tires off the garage floor. And the reason why I'm gonna do that is because I don't want them sitting on the floor. Now, like myself, and like I just mentioned earlier at the start of this video, we're gonna be tinkering with the bike quite a bit. So the bike's gonna get moved around, so I'm not worried too much about that. But if I were putting this thing in a shed, or if I were putting this thing outside, I probably wanna put it up on like a dirt bike stand. Or if you don't have that, like take a couple cinder blocks and then a block of wood, put the cinder blocks down and then a block of wood over it, and then do the kickstand trick where you pull the bike up and lean it all in the kick. Let me show you how that's done really quick here. Let's drop this guy down. Get him out of the way. So like, say you're on this side of the bike and you have your block and you got your kickstand there, we'll just like lift it up, right? Let it go onto that kickstand, then you can put stuff underneath that, and then you drop it on, and away you go. You're good to go. And that basically gets the bike off the ground, and it prevents like flat spots on your tires from developing. So that's really key. The other part is pest control. Now, if it's outside, and even in my garage here too, like we've been known to have some critters, but squirrels and like mice and rats, they love to get out of this shelter. They want to have a home like us, right? You know, they want to be nice and warm and away from the elements. Well, the KLR 650 unfortunately has a lot of opportunity for that because of all this crazy plastic work on it, right? Like look at the front cowl. Like you see all these little nooks and crannies, see all these little places where they can creep in and just live, like right down in here and back here. There's a little lip right there. Airbox. They get in the airbox, man. They'll put all sorts of crazy stuff inside your bike. Then you go start it right at the first of spring, you're all pumped to get out there, and then like, ugh, okay. Anyway, what can you do about that? Well, number one, like I said, cover the bike. Two, go get some dryer sheets, eh? Like get some of these bounce and gain sheets and just start jamming them in there. Boom, right there, there's a good spot. Take another one, slide it right in here. Put another one right up in there, up in the cowl. Go into your air box, open your air box where your air filter is. On the other side of the bike, you remove the side panel. Then there's like another Phillips screwdriver head, and you pull that guy out and just jam the bounce sheets in there. They hate the smell of that stuff. You know, they're resilient buggers, so I'm not gonna say it's a foolproof method, but any kind of prevention is good for that kind of stuff. So yeah, and for me, you know, that's basically it. So I will ask you all to go to the comments section right away now and let me know what is your like number one overlooked thing for winterizing a bike. What do you do to your KLR or to your motorcycle in general that makes it ready for the wintertime, that keeps it good while it's just chilling and while you chill in the off season? Anyway, that is gonna be that for this. I am gonna pack up and we are gonna head outside and do some cool stuff out there. And I will tee up with you when that happens. So I'm gonna finish up a few more things on the bike here and then we'll head out. All right, we'll see you then. So we're getting out and enjoying a little bit of fresh air now. I figured I got everything I wanted to get done in the garage done today. So I wanted to get out and go for a little bit of a hike, get some fresh air. You know, that's important in the winter. A lot of people think that, you know, because it's the winter and because the snow is flying, that there's no more outdoor adventures. Well, there is tons of things to do outdoors. And one of the things that I like to do is go on these little hikes. I love doing hikes in the winter, especially when there's a lot of snow on the ground. Actually, where we are right now, we're on a Winter River Trail. It's a really, really good trail, runs right along the river, and you can actually trout fish in fishing season. That's where we caught that one trout that one time when I put up a little bit of video there. If you are interested in like more hiking videos and stuff like that, and motorcycle videos too, check out Ron C. Actually, Ron, what do we got here? He sent me a really cool little postcard recently, and he gave me some stickers too. So yeah, there you go, man. That was really cool of him to do. Really appreciate that. I will find a really cool spot for your sticker on my guitar. That's pretty neat there. That's an owl box, and that's set up by the Winter River Tracadie Bay Watershed Group. And it provides a nice winter habitat for some of the owls that are in this area, and there's lots of owls. I usually see one every time. We saw an eagle there just recently. It's a good time. So this is really what this kind of bonus video is about. You know, just getting out and reconnecting with nature, not staying too cooped up in the wintertime. And it's all right to be a little cooped up. You know, winter's about being cozy. Winter's about enjoying, you know, everything slowing down a little bit. So I like that. But we get out here, get the snowshoes on. So I'm looking forward to doing that. But anyway, this is actually a channel update. I gotta remember what I'm trying to do here. I'm getting a little bit sidetracked. So basically, where are we at right now? We're probably just finishing up Fields and Fortune. So that would have been released last Monday. So this Monday, we got a new quick series, and that's going to be Return to Millvale. So we're back to Guns Bridge again, me and Brandon. Now, I don't know if you noticed, the camera from Brandon and the audio from Brandon on this last series was a little bit janky. That's because we were using a prototype for a new dual rider, dual vlog, dual camera, dual audio system. And I wanted to make sure that I got that nailed down, concrete, before we headed out to Cape Breton. And this little short series up in Millvale, that's where we prove it. And it actually worked out really good. And I think later on, one of the bonus videos that we'll do in the wintertime is I'll break down how that works, how that system works a little bit. But this video talks about it a bit as well. So that's a really cool video that's coming up. And of course, after that, December 13th, along the Witches River, premieres. We got episode 1. We're going to talk a little bit about our kit. We're going to talk about the mission, the plan, the route. And then after that, we step off. We take across the Northumberland Strait on the Wood Islands Ferry. And yeah, after that, that's going to be one hell of a ride. I cannot wait to share it. I've said that a million times already, but man, oh man, what a trip, what a ride, what an adventure. That's going to be so cool. I hope you guys have a really good winter. I'm going to try to make it go as quick as possible for us. You know, bonus videos, Witches River. Hopefully, if everything goes according to plan, we'll slide right through this winter and we'll be back on the bikes in no time flat. But while you guys are sitting there, enjoy the time that you have. If you've got a hobby, let me know what your hobbies are in the winter. What do you do to stay occupied in the wintertime? And if it's not your off season, then ride safe. You know, enjoy, soak up that awesome season. I know our boys and girls down in Australia definitely have a nice hot weather coming up soon, so enjoy that. And until the next adventure, until the next time we meet out here on the trails or out there on the bikes, take care, Island Riders. Oh, don't forget the pack there, Dowski. Jeez, it's a pricey old pack. We don't want to forget that.